On February 12, 1993, Britain was shaken by a horrifying crime in Merseyside. The killers were not hardened adult murderers, but two 10-year-old boys, Robert Thompson and Jon Venables. Their victim was James Patrick Bulger, a 2-year-old toddler. The case didn't just horrify the public, it also raised a disturbing question about the justice system. When children commit such brutal acts, should they be judged and punished like adults? That afternoon, little James went shopping with his mother, Denise Bulger, at the New Strand Shopping Center in Bootle. Around 3:40 p.m., while inside A.R. Times' butcher shop, Denise let go of her son's hand for only a few seconds to pay. When she looked up, James was gone. Security cameras soon revealed the truth. James was being led by the hand by Jon Venables, while Robert Thompson walked ahead. What looked like an innocent scene was actually the beginning of one of the most shocking crimes of the 20th century. Even more disturbing, the two boys had skipped school that day, roaming the mall to steal small items. They took candy, batteries, a small troll doll, and most notably, a can of blue paint, which would later become a tool of torture. Witnesses recalled the boys eyeing several children, as if searching for a target. Thompson and Venables led James out of the mall. The three walked through crowded areas, crossed the Leeds and Liverpool Canal. At the canal, James was pushed down, injuring his head, and the boys even discussed throwing him in to drown. One witness later recalled, James was crying his heart out, eyes red with tears. Over the nearly 2.5-mile, almost 4 kilometers, walk, at least 38 people saw the group. Yet no one intervened, believing the boy's excuse that he's lost. We're taking him to the police. At one point, they entered a pet shop. The owner noticed James was bruised and scratched, but quickly shooed them away. That was the last chance for James to be saved, and it was lost. Near the old Walton and Anfield railway station, just a few hundred yards from Walton Lane Police Station, Thompson and Venables dragged James up an embankment toward the train tracks. There, the nightmare began. They threw the can of blue paint into James's eye, blinding his left eye. They punched, kicked, and beat him with bricks and stones. They shoved batteries into his mouth and possibly into his rectum, though the autopsy found no foreign objects. They then hurled stones and slammed a 22-pound, 10-kilogram iron bar from the railway onto James. The pathologist later confirmed James had at least 42 separate injuries, but no single fatal blow. He died slowly, in agony, before a train ran over his body. The boys then placed James's body on the tracks, covering it with rubble, hoping the train would mutilate him enough to look like an accident. On February 14, 1993, 2 days after the disappearance, four boys searching for soccer balls discovered James's body. The scene was devastating. A tiny child's body, bloody, covered in paint, clothes torn apart. The autopsy revealed James had died before the train ran over him, exposing the killer's attempt to disguise their crime. At first, police assumed the killers were teenagers or adults. But the breakthrough came when a woman recognized Jon Venables on television. She remembered seeing him with Robert Thompson in Bootle that day. The forensic evidence was undeniable. Both boys' clothes had blue paint matching the crime scene. Blood from James was found on Thompson's shoes. A shoe print on James's face matched Thompson's shoes. Venables had blue paint inside his shoe, proving he had kicked James with force. On February 20th, 1993, both were charged with murder. In November 1993, the trial took place at Preston. Though only 11 years old, both were tried as adults. In the dock, they sat on raised chairs to see the judge and jury. Outside the court, hundreds of protesters demanded justice for James. On November 24th, the jury found both guilty of murder. Justice Moreland declared, This was an act of unparalleled evil and cruelty. They were sentenced to be detained indefinitely at Her Majesty's pleasure, with a minimum of 8 years recommended. After 280,000 signatures demanding harsher punishment, the term was raised to 15 years. However, in 1999, the European Court of Human Rights ruled that trying 11-year-olds in public adult courts was unfair. By 2001, after 8 years in custody, Thompson and Venables were released on parole. The British government granted both new identities, passports, and documents, and banned them from ever returning to Merseyside. Revealing their identity could mean immediate arrest. Robert Thompson disappeared from the public eye. No one knows where he is today. Jon Venables, however, reoffended multiple times. In 2010, he was arrested for possessing child abuse images. In 2013, he was released, only to be arrested again in 2017 for the same crime. As of 2023, Venables remains in custody. The James Bulger case became a national tragedy, sparking fierce debate across Britain. Should children who commit such atrocities be tried as adults? Is 10 years old too young for criminal responsibility? Should the identities of juvenile killers ever be made public? At the time, Prime Minister John Major stated, "We need to condemn more and understand less." To this day, the murder of James Bulger is remembered as one of the darkest chapters in British crime history, a haunting reminder of the thin line between childhood and evil. The story of James Bulger still horrifies the world. It forces us to ask, what turned childish mischief into an unforgivable crime? And was justice truly served in this case? What do you think about Robert Thompson and Jon Venables? Do they deserve a second chance at life? Or will they always remain monsters with the faces of children? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you found this story compelling, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Dark Scene Secrets for more chilling true crime and unsolved mysteries. Hit the notification bell so you never miss a new episode.